Good afternoon, evening, or good morning, depending on where you are. And thanks for joining us in this special live stream, the second of only 5 we'll be doing this year, a book launch. Today, we'll be marking the initial release of the science fiction short story, Death Has No Shadow, otherwise known as...
Can you upload a soul?
These may not be questions that we're really asking right now, but I can imagine soon, given technological advances, maybe within a lifetime or two, that this might be an actual thing. And science fiction often asks these big, deeper philosophical questions, and they kind of get answered. Some of these kind of get answered ahead of time. Now, I'm going to say this too, that if Christians don't get in on the game and asking some of these deeper philosophical questions on the offset, we're not going to have our voices heard in some of the arenas where it should be heard. So that's one of the reasons why it's good to have Christian sci-fi.
That, or we're just going to get blindsided.
Right.
Just like, oh, shoot, now this is a big theological question. We had no clue, no preparation for it. Oh, my.
Surprise.
That's never happened before.
Yeah, it's here. Well, I'm John Newton, science fiction author, and this is...
Eric, from Your Brother in Christ. I do apologetics, polemics, and evangelism, mostly focused on Islam.
Yes.
But I'm here to help you.
Yes, definitely. And I do appreciate your work, and we've got some other guests that have been coming on here, too. Eric has been a great supporter of the channel, and I appreciate all the effort that he's put in, especially behind the scenes, smacking me upside the head and saying, it's time to get online right now. You should be live.
I've got like 5 people I keep doing that to. There's one that I'm really looking forward to, him getting on there and telling his stories. That would be epic.
So we're going to ask 2 big questions that are brought up by this story, Death Has No Shadow. And the first question is, can you download a soul? And what is the line between human and machine? But first, an introduction to this book. You can grab this book, Death Has No Shadow. You can grab that on Amazon. Right now, it is not on other distributors, but it should soon be on Apple, Kubo, all the other major ebook distributors. It's only in ebook form because it's a short story, and there's not enough really to grab a hold of to make it an actual book. It might be an anthology later with this guy here who came out last month. So I'm doing a short story a month for the next couple of months. We have A Taste of Earth, and then Death Has No Shadow. Next month, the first of the month, we'll be coming out with another one. And then that's September, then October, another one. In November is a novel is coming out. So all of those together should be, what we're trying to do is we're trying to make an imprint or an impact on culture. Since culture is, we're looking around us and what is happening with our Western culture, with the degradation that we see. So
the Olympics.
Yeah, some more recent events, all this stuff happening. We need to get out there and supply something else. And so that's one of the reasons why we're engaging culture like this. And these are asking questions. And the 2 questions we have in here is, can you upload a soul? And what is the line between machine and human beings? Where is that line? So Death Has No Shadow. In a cutting-edge research facility nestled in a volcanic island, scientist Katisha battles with grief in her demanding job while uncovering mysteries of gravitational waves. Assisted by an AI known as Prometheus, a counselor who has a counselor's touch, she navigates the daily challenges of her lingering sorrow over her husband's death. But when an army of menacing nanites, dubbed mind leeches, micro machines, breaks free, her routine shatters into chaos. The facility's defenses crumble and time runs out. Katisha is forced to make an impossible choice. Risk her life's work or unleash a devastating EMP. Guided by the enigmatic Corporal B29E, a mech warrior, she must decide which of these machines to trust. In a world where line between human and machine blurs, Death Has No Shadow explores the depth of human emotion, the ethics of artificial intelligence, and the relentless quest for knowledge. Will Kutisha find redemption in the face of annihilation, or will the echoes of her past drown out in a sea of lost memories? Dun, dun, dun. So, in that story, which just is it's a fun science fiction story itself, a little bit of a thriller. You might be on the seat of your pants with some things that are happening here, not knowing who to trust. There brings forth these two questions that we can ask on this. And the first question is, can you upload a soul? And so that is one of the questions. I'm going to put that question to you. And I think probably the first question that we should ask, or the first thing we should ask with that question is,
what is a soul?
There you go.
Get the definitions down first.
That's right. Can't really argue the point if you're not talking about the same thing. Okay. So let's talk about that. What the term soul that people use, they kind of mean what, this kind of spiritual thing. Maybe it's unseen. Maybe it's like a spirit. Maybe what really is, when you talk to people and they've mentioned souls, because you do a lot of discussion online, what do people mention about what a soul is?
In Christianity, a soul would be the
not in Christianity. I'm just talking about
general.
What
they don't touch it.
Okay, so people, when they call, they don't have any kind of things on their mind at all?
Not normally on that. Okay. We haven't done that talk.
Okay,
yet.
so when I've had discussions with people, it has been sort of this mystic thing that, like, you can lose your soul to something. The phrase, like, you can lose your soul. And either they're talking about maybe a salvation, but I'm thinking they're talking about just more on their own life. Like, I give up my soul I trade my soul to the devil. Is a phrase that has been used in the past. That idea that I'm going to give over my salvation or something of myself. So what would you say, what is the biblical definition of a soul then?
Soul would be the eternal breath of God given to us.
Nope. That's a spirit.
Spirit. Sorry, I get those.
Yeah, so a soul would be now in the Bible, in the New Testament, you see yes, okay. So there is sorry, put you on the spot. Did not prepare you for this whatsoever. Welcome to our test of Eric from your brother in Christ. And we are going to have a true and false question. And I see I still have a taste of earth up. I am so sorry. We are talking about this one here instead. In the New Testament, the word that is translated as spirit is pneuma. It is the breath that is given. And it's also seen in the Old Testament that there's a Hebrew word for it, but this is like when God breathes into, is talking about life. And this is what will eternally be with God. Now, sometimes in the New Testament is used interchangeably with the word suke, which was where we get psychology from. That is like your mind, will, and emotions. So when I'm using the term soul, that's what I'm talking about, is your mind, your will, and emotions. Could you download your memories and your neural pathways? Can that be digitized and captured into some kind of machine?
Theory, sure. You could, in theory, image your mental pathways, but is that enough?
Yeah, and I'm not even sure if we can image them with enough resolution right now, because you can get an MRI scan.
Right now.
No, well, you can get an MRI scan, and that will show you something. I think it doesn't have enough resolution to actually show the actual neurons and map them out in like an XYZ coordinate system, maybe. But your question is, would that be enough?
Would that be enough? Would that encapsulate it really?
Yeah. And the reason why we're asking that is because a main character in this, and she's pictured in the image below, she is running from a military mech, and that is in the story. But with her, the question that it is her husband passed away, and there was an argument that they had about should they do a soul download. And actually, sorry, it's actually an upload. They call it a soul recording. Would you do this? Because her work is really requiring that. I could see in the future, if this were possible, you could have a contract with your business to say, listen, we're going to double your salary if you allow us to make and keep a soul recording, a download of your brain, all your memories, or maybe you can filter certain personal memories out, but you work so that if you pass, we can basically make a duplicate of you. We could maybe do something with that to make you use you as a part of an artificial intelligence in the system. So if you're very valuable, you imagine doing that to Einstein. If he had that kind of,
I could see that being used for every president as a
we may
sort
not
of
want to do
assassination
sure,
guarantee.
we may not want to do that to some presidents, but okay.
It might not be stable with some presidents that are out there currently, but with others, I could see that being, hey, if you've got assassination or anything, any sort of threat like that on you, it'd be
That's
good
right.
to have a backup of you.
That's right. So this is, like I said, this is one of the things that's dealt with in this story. Now, this is a short story, and you can only deal with it for so much, but she's struggling with this. You know, her husband, who has passed, he had the opportunity to get this, and she's thinking, I really wish, I know there's the ethics and he didn't want to do it, but I really wish he would have. So, I mean, even just for your family members, to keep a memory of you alive. If you're like a mother or father and you're going to die early of cancer and you have small children, wouldn't it be nice to have something like that around? I mean, Superman, he had that of his father, right? His father from Krypton, he was Jor-El, his Kal-El.
Yeah,
he was Kal-El, and Jor-El was his father.
Jor-El was the father.
So,
Kal-El
in his Fortress of Solitude, he basically had a AI of his father that could speak to him and give him guidance. I mean, that'd be pretty cool if your parent passed away, right?
Well, yeah, but I can see that being also a handicap.
How would that be a handicap?
Because through hardship and through pain, we grow.
Okay.
And not having that there anymore may cause us to grow much further than what we would be if we always had it.
Okay.
There.
Okay. And here's another thing too. What happens if your father dies, has this done, and then your mother remarries?
That would be awkward around the Christmas. And
your dad. He's like, what am I going to do? The stepdad's there, but I keep going back to first dad's AI and getting advice that way.
That and the copyright. You think copyright infringements are bad now? Just wait until they can copyright you.
Yeah.
Eternally.
Yes. So if your thoughts can be copied, would you own the copyright to that? You would think that you would own that, just like you would own your own DNA. Do you own your own DNA? What happens if you do some of these tests?
Yeah, what if they map your own DNA? Map your DNA? Are you the one that holds the copyright to that, or is that something that the company, whoever did it, also has rights to it?
Yeah,
and it might be an equal thing. Well, what if you die? Then this is the only version of you left.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, I'm the only one with the copyright to it because the original copyright owner died.
Does it go to your next of kin? Does it go to your? And what if you have an AI created from your upload, and it's now producing things, and it produces maybe cutting edge medicine, or a new invention that is who would own the patent on that? Would it be your estate?
Well, here's another aspect. Who says they have to wait for you to be dead?
Oh man.
Aha!
Okay.
There you go. Now they got you
now
working 24/7 for them.
Right.
And
they give
the
you
original you gets fired.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
It's an you're at an at-will work or wherever it is.
Right. At-will employment.
At-will employment, and they can ship you off whenever they feel like it. So, yeah, you signed this originally. They get a copy of you. You mouth off too much or you're not up to their snuff, and they replace you with the AI you, and the AI you knows no different.
This has got to be a story. Okay.
Man, I got another story for you, John.
What's worse?
That's easy.
What's worse is your AI is now doing better than you, and your AI fires you.
No. What's worse is they have both AIs going at the same time. They're both doing fantastic. One of them starts slacking off, so they go ahead and fire that one. They realize after the fact that they accidentally fired the AI.
Okay.
The original you is still doing good.
So there are all sorts of ethical questions that are involved.
It's gonna be a good comedy too.
So I don't know. Could be
what, AI and me. My AI and me.
Yeah. Me, myself, and I. Okay. So that's the first question that can be asked. The second question that can be asked is, what is the line between a machine and a human being? Now, it's obvious now. We can look at it, and there's not even a question. And machines are, even the best machines are not even close to being.
What is the definition of a machine?
Okay, and what is the definition of a human?
No, what's the definition of a machine?
Okay.
I just need to know the definition of a machine before we go on to that.
I should look it up and see what the actual definition of a machine is. Yeah, I think it is a device that does work, and you would say maybe an inanimate object that does work. A screw is considered a machine.
Screw is considered.
It actually is, because it does work.
Inanimate object. If it has the inanimate object, okay. If you're just saying machine in general, you could say that human bodies are biological machines. If human bodies are biological machines that are driven by human will, what's the difference between that and a robot?
It's driven by human will.
That would be driven by a human mind that was either uploaded, or even you got virtual reality stuff. You're sitting back in virtual reality controlling this robotic body. That's still a machine.
Right.
No matter how close it looks like to a human
But I think
body.
everybody would intuitively know that, even if, okay, let's say that you've been so severely crippled that they were able to put your brain into a jar, and that jar then is put into this android, right? Even if you do something like this, all right, we know that body is not a human body.
At this point.
Yeah, because, okay. And
how do we know that? How would an external individual, meeting him on the street, if he's wearing a turtleneck shirt?
How would we know?
No.
What was your question?
How would a person meeting that individual,
Yeah.
if you pull up the picture again,
okay,
if he was wearing a turtleneck shirt,
okay,
how would I know that is artificial? I don't know if that's supposed to be some sort of technology on his forehead or a fly.
I don't know. It's probably a fly.
I'm not sure. I can't tell.
So you're asking if I came across this guy and he had his robotic parts covered.
Robotic parts covered.
Would I know the difference?
Artificial skin or through clothing.
Okay.
How would you necessarily know by sight on the street that that's not a human?
Well, okay, so there's the Turing test. The Turing test basically says that you can ask these questions of a machine and not know. It appears it's more scientific than this. So basically, it appears like it's human. You know, like I'm typing into the computer and it's answering questions. It looks like a human is answering me, and I can't tell the difference. Then that artificial intelligence passes that test. And so if I see this guy on the streets,
let's say it's controlled by a human consciousness that's been uploaded. How would you?
Okay, so let's back off. Let's just do this by pieces. At what part does it come? So I'm in a war. I lose my arm. I get a mechanical arm, and it's like, I'm Luke Skywalker. I got something
you can't through the ship of ship of Festus or Ephesus.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, the theological conundrum. If you had a ship that you went to sea with, that you replaced all the parts of,
I see,
and then built another ship with those parts that you replaced with.
You're going too fast. You're going too fast. Okay, so you're going too fast. Yes. All right. So you get the arm replaced, and then you go on, and eventually all the body parts get replaced, and maybe even some facial structure or something like this, a jaw, and then you get a face. Whatever the deal is. At what point are you no longer there?
How much plastic do you have to put in your body before you're no longer human?
Oh gosh,
we're already dealing with that.
Well, to an extent. Okay, so we could probably say that keep your hands off the mind, off the brain. Now, there might need to be some kind of brain surgery that is done, and implants here or there to compensate for some things. But you start replacing enough things, and where does it go?
Where does it go from being the... I keep going back with the ship. I'm pretty sure it's a Festus, but I could be wrong with that. But when does that ship stop being the original ship and be the new ship?
That's the question.
Is it just the name that is tagged along with the entire thing from beginning to end? Because you replace a little part here, a little part there, and before long, you have no parts that were the original? I don't know.
Well, I think we can say at least the human, what's different from a human being in a ship is the human brain, which appears to encapsulate the mind.
So the answer is the captain still the captain from the beginning?
That's the question. That is the question. So what is the difference between a mind and a brain?
The mind, you're asking me what is the difference between the mind and the brain? The brain is the physical thing, which contains memories and neural pathways. The mind is it functioning.
Correct.
Where we have
I think it would be
involved in it.
I think it would be akin to say a computer is a laptop. That's like the computer itself. The hardware itself is the brain, and the software running on it is the mind. But even now, scientists cannot really define what the brain is. What the mind is. So when I say a soul, we're talking mind, will, and emotions. And I think there's pretty much talking. That's the will and emotions are a function of the mind. So we're talking about the mind itself. It comes way down to that. That's the soul, right? And that's the essence. And somewhere, somehow, God has breathed into us, because we know animals have a mind. They can have will and emotion to a lesser extent, not as advanced as ours, but they can. So at some level, animals have a soul, but they don't have the spirit because God has not breathed into them like he has breathed into us.
So the question is this a secular world that we just evolved from monkeys, and therefore everything, I mean, literally, if we just duplicated everything in the human body over one, copy paste, then we would have the same exact individual? Or would we have an empty husk that maybe something else could obtain?
Yes.
Which would be where it could get kind of scary.
Yes. Okay, so can you actually copy the human body molecule for molecule? You should, at least by theory, have a duplicate soul that goes with it, because the soul is only the function of the brain. Then if you duplicated that brain exactly, then you should have duplicated the soul exactly. But we don't know.
If you're going from a secular worldview, with evolution being the only cause of life here, the answer would, of course, have to be yes, because that's all there is. But the problem is, I don't think I would ever trust the other me.
So if we can duplicate the function of different parts of the body, like a hand, and we're getting better with prosthetics and being able to handle them, robotics to be able to handle that sort of thing, and our computer capacity and understanding computer science is getting better. There may be a time eventually in the future where this guy is walking around, and he very well may have a computer brain, like Data from an android from Star Trek, something like that. And if you could download your brain into his mind, download your mind into his positronic brain, then that could be essential view. But I don't know if we'll ever get there. And if we do, we'll have to answer these philosophical questions.
I don't know. Because then, of course, with Christian theologies, you do have the actual spirit that's required well. So, again, if you were to copy, for example, me over, made an exact copy of me, I would never trust that individual because I don't know who's driving it.
That's right. You might actually have.
I'm not.
You might actually have it driven by a different type of spirit, not a human spirit. It might be a different type of spirit.
Yes, and that would be an interesting story on its own.
So here's the question that would be asked: that we asked, can you upload a soul? And the second question is, where is the line between human and machine? And even if you can duplicate the biological processes of the human body in a mechanical, electronic format, you still have the question of the mind or the soul that's there. And there's no way we know of that you could duplicate that. So these are some of the questions in a story format that are asked in Death Has No Shadow. And that's why, I write these stories so that just for the enjoyment first, that you enjoy the stories, and but then they can be used as a method and a springboard to talk to other people.
Theseus.
You were just looking that up?
Yes,
that's what you were.
Check. I want to double check and actually get that paradox right. Yes.
Okay, so that
was it, where you replace each part of it, and the question is it still the same ship?
Right. So upcoming works. Now I do have right now these two short stories that are out: A Taste of Earth and Death Has No Shadow. There is another one coming up in September. It's Cohesion Lost. In October, Child of the Stone. In November, the novel The Healing Stone. All these are pretty much ready to go, but I'm putting them out in steps and going in. And I want to thank you. These are all part of this Shadows of Time series. There is time travel involved, not necessarily in the short stories, but it will be involved in the novel. And they all kind of fit together a bit. You don't have to read them in any kind of sequence, but they all have something to do with each other. Excuse me. I'm just proving that I am not a machine, because androids can't sneeze.
Where does it say that?
My own law. I made that up. That's Newton's 45th law of robotics.
Yeah, I'm going to call bullcrap on that one.
You do. And I want to thank you. I want to thank the people that have downloaded this before and left reviews. It's been fantastic. Last month's short story, A Taste of Earth, has been in the top 20. At least in the top 20 in one of its categories all month long, and often reaching into the top 10. Oh, I'm sorry.
I have no reference points, so I'm going to say that sounds pretty good.
It is very difficult.
So it's like having first page on Google, right?
Yes.
Okay, well, then that makes sense to me.
The top 10 in those categories would be first page on Google, and they go in sections of 10. So in the top 20 being like in the second page.
It's the second page. Wow.
Hey, still, believe me, that's really good to keep it up that far. So both of those are on Amazon right now. A Taste of Earth is also available on other channels, and Death Has No Shadow will be available on other channels very soon. And please check out the links for these in the description below. If you haven't had a chance to check them out, please do.
Now, John, you mentioned that Death Has No Shadow is on Amazon, but not on the other avenues. Is that because you have some sort of exclusive thing going with Amazon?
No.
Or is there another reason behind the scenes for that one?
I'm embarrassed to say the other reason.
What's the other reason?
Moving right along now. I've been too busy. It's been crazy. Yes. Yes, it's been crazy. I've been too busy with working on other projects. So I have not been able to get it out, but it will be soon this weekend. Did you have something else in mind?
Thought you might have published this early.
Oh, no, that's not.
I've done that with the videos.
Yeah, actually.
Public. Oh, shoot. Wait, hold on.
Yeah,
I didn't mean that one yet.
This is why I bring this guy along. He tells all my embarrassing stories. So, yes, I actually did publish Death Has No Shadow accidentally a day early. So it did come out the last day.
So in other words, guys, get early access. Hurry up. And other people get it.
Let me know, because I will have early access to the next short story as well, but not for everybody. That's going to be exclusive. Check out the links in the description for this video to see where those are. And this is also something, these short stories are something that you can use as talking points to other people there about, possibly drawing them closer to Christ. So we have coming up soon, this next week, Sunday at 6 p.m., I'm going to be doing a special on your channel.
Yep, we'll be covering this sort of topic again, but this one is more of, does AI offer immortality? So can you be immortal? Is immortality just one software upgrade away?
That is, boy, that would be tempting for a lot of people to have that as a possibility. And Tuesday at 8 p.m., we're going to have our regular session, but this is going to be special. It's to be announced, and I'm going to be announcing that soon on what it is. We're debating on going back and forth on a couple of things. And I want to show support for other Christian programs, other Christian movies, other Christian venues that are out there. So there's something in the works going on with that right now that may bring that up as a possibility. So that's coming Tuesday evening, 8 p.m. and Thursday morning, 7 a.m. It's a special time because that's the only time I can get together with Jono, the Culture Crusader. And he is an Australian, so that's why we had to do it earlier. We're going to review iRobot. This is the 2004 version. And take a look at that. Is it a movie that was worthwhile for the purists out there, for Isaac Asimov purists? They might say, no, this is a cheap knockoff. You shan't have this. You shall not pass. But we're going to take a look at it anyway to see if it is worth our time. So, oh, wow. Okay, I'm checking the chat.
Sorry, I was cheating on my phone.
Okay, I'm going to check the chats right here. And just purchased Death Has No Shadow. Can't wait to read it. Had to get both for Kindle because I prefer that over BookFunnel. Yeah, BookFunnel is a way that we could use to get pre-released out. I did not do it for this book, but I did for the previous one. And there's certain reasons for that. Also, I'm late, just got off work. Dude, glad you're here. Good to see you. Did Apple make a reboot? A robot. Sorry. Did Apple make a robot? I think of reboots all the time. Did Apple make a robot? I'm sure they have.
I don't know.
But I'm not sure if that is. And he says, I am not a robot. I don't believe that.
I don't believe you.
You haven't passed the test.
Did you check the box yet that makes sure you're not a robot yet?
Mm-hmm.
The magical box that goes through your entire history and makes sure that you're not a robot?
Yeah. You know, it's so funny. Now we've got robots checking to see if we're human online.
Hey, got to be thorough, I guess.
Boy, oh boy. iRobot like iPhone? No, this is it's actually an old. You. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's why you're asking if Apple made it. Sorry, I'm a little slow. This is written by a famous author, Isaac Asimov, and I think the original was written might have been in the 50s. The original story.
Maybe.
iRobot. I had to go back and check to see the dates, but it's a very old story. Of course, they modernize it. This is Will Smith in there, is the main actor. I'm going to hold off on whether that's a good one or not, but that's going to be early next Thursday morning, and we'll see how. I'm looking forward to that. Having Jono as a guest has been good. We had another guest recently on too, and that was Ryan, and we did. What did we just do? Firefly. Thank you.
I watched it.
By the way, if you guys saw the Firefly thing, I apologize for the audio. We could not figure. That's never happened before. We could not figure out what it was. It did appear to be a bandwidth issue because we tried a couple of different mics. There was no way for me to clean it up. It was so bad that I was thinking that I might just take it down. But that was the first one I had done with Ryan, and I did not want to take it down because of him. We'll just leave it up for legacy's sake. And also, we will probably do some more with him later. Firefly, there was some raunchy stuff in that. You know what? You don't. If you see something, it's been a long time. Yeah, it's been like 20 years since I watched it originally.
Sounds about right.
And then we were talking about afterwards about some things that happened because we just did the first couple episodes. And there's a character in there, Kaylee, that we're like, oh yeah, she's so sweet and everything like this. And then I forgot that later on in the series, she just becomes this sex fiend. She just gets out there and wants to jump in the sack with everybody, including a woman. And this was earlier on before the real lefty stuff started happening with that. And so the woke stuff really started happening. So yeah, the series is really taking a sour turn in my mind, but they did a good job with the characters and the writing in general, except for that kind of stuff. So I wanted to mention that because I gave it high praise and I forgot about some of the other junk that was in there. So until
no, he doesn't check the box.
Doesn't
He's a robot.
He doesn't check.
He's a robot.
Yeah, we'll check for the downloads there later too. So I want to thank you all for joining, and looking forward to on Sunday night meeting up with this guy, and then Tuesday night we're going to have that special, and then next Thursday also Jono is back to be talking with him. Until then, I hope you have a great weekend, and may Lord bless you.